We will just stop that there as the game is about to get underway. We did have media communication that the players wouldn't be taking the knee for every game. I think they are at the very start of the season. The players have just taken the knee, and we are underway at Elland Road for the first 3 p.m. Saturday kickoffs of the new season. We've had a couple of games already with Arsenal winning away at Palace yesterday, and Fulham, newly promoted, drawing 2-2 with Liverpool in the earlier kickoff today. But a big game this for Leeds, starting the season, of course, without Rafinha and without Calvin Phillips, and Wolves themselves wanting to kick on, having a bit of a flat season last time out, but they're on the attack straight away are the visitors down the right-hand side. Podence with an attempted back heel there, just blocked off, and it is now Leeds in possession, trying to get something started down the left-hand side. A ball there for Harrison to chase just a little bit short. It's myself, Paul Szczerbakowicz, and Josh Hall taking you through the commentary. And Josh, we were just saying before kick-off, it's quite difficult to call this one.
Yeah, definitely. It's two teams that are missing important players through injury and missing a lot of players through injury. I think you'd probably have said Wolves would be the better side off the back of last season, but missing players like Moutinho and Jimenez is going to be a big blow for them. So yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's a new look Leeds United side. 4 debutants in that lineup, and a manager that can finally sort of start to implement his play style after sort of trying to drag his way through the end of the season just to try and keep them up. So I'm intrigued to see what happens.
Absolutely. As Leeds now trying to push on down the right-hand side. Wolves will win the ball back. It's a long ball over the top looking for Chan, but it's headed away. Drops in midfielder. There might be a strike here from Podence, and he does hit that one. Puts his foot through it, does Daniel Podence. Doesn't quite get it on target, though. But a warning there straight away for Leeds. It was just a loose ball at the edge of the area, and straight away Wolves with a chance.
Yeah, Tyler Adams just not managing to find his man with the header. I think Podence probably just jumps at the opportunity a bit too much, hits it with a bit of venom on the edge of the area. Strong right boot, but Meslier knew exactly where it was going and didn't even really have to make any effort to go towards it.
In the end, he could see it was going wide as the Leeds now pushing forward in midfield. The ball doesn't quite get through to Aronson, though, and Wolves now in possession. Just to remind you of the 2-11s very quickly. They may have a little break in player as well, as a Wolves player is down just at the edge of the centre circle. Referee Rob Jones quite happy to play on. It's captain Ruben Neves who's down on the ground for Wolves, and I think now the referee is going to check to see how the Portuguese international is. But just to remind you, it's Ilan Meslier in goal for Leeds with a back four of Rasmus Christensen, Diego Llorente, Robin Koch and Pascal Struijk. The 2 holding midfielders are Mark Rocker and Tyler Adams. The 3 attacking midfielders are Brendan Aronson, Rodrigo and Jack Harrison, with the returning Patrick Bamford up front. He's also the captain for Leeds this afternoon, with Luke Ayling still out injured. As far as Wolves, it's Jose Sarr in goal with the back four of Johnny Castro, Nathan Collins, Max Kilman and Ryan Ait-Nouri. The 2 holder midfielders are Leander Dendoncker and Ruben Neves. 3 ahead of them, Daniel Podence, Morgan Gibbs-White and Pedro Neto. Hwang Hee-Chan is the front man for Wolves. It looks like everything is going to be fine with Ruben Neves. We have our first goal in the 3 o'clock kickoffs this afternoon. It's come at the Bournemouth Stadium. I'm always forgetting which sponsor they have these days, but it is Bournemouth that take the lead against Aston Villa. The goal there through Jefferson Lerma, so the perfect start there for Bournemouth. It is the Vitality Stadium, of course, and certainly a good start there for the home side, as Leeds now trying to push on, getting a ball out towards Harrison. That one is picked off, though, by Gibbs-White, and then a long ball down the right-hand side from Johnny Castro. Doesn't quite stick with Daniel Podence. And there's a couple of Wolves players, I think, who need to kick on. Podence is one, and the other player is Gibbs-White, who's been talked about for some time. He's been out on loan a few times, never been able to quite stick in that Wolves first 11. Yeah,
and he's got an opportunity now to start this first game of the season and put his mark on this Bruno Lage side. I think, he's been talked up so much, like you say. He's been linked with big clubs, he's been linked with moves, and now is his chance to kick on and show exactly what he's made of. And, playing in that further forward role today, he could really create something against 2 inexperienced defensive midfielders in the Premier League in Tyler Adams and Mark Rocker.
That's what he'll be certainly looking for, as Leeds trying a long ball this time over the top, looking for Bamford, but he was being tracked by 2 Wolves defenders in Kilman and Collins, and the ball gets through towards Jose Sarr in any case, as he now looks up, thought about playing it on, just rolls this out towards Collins, signed of course from relegated Burnley. As Wolves just messing about with it at the edge of the box, and they lose possession here. A quick ball into the box now, looking for Aronson. It's cleared away, but that's a warning for Bruno Lage's side as well. Certainly, Leeds will certainly not be shy to try and press, particularly when they're at home, and Johnny Castro just dwelt on the ball there.
Yeah, he just slow on it. It didn't look like he had any intent with his passing. None of that real back four from Wolves looked like they knew exactly where they wanted that ball to go, and before they knew it, there was a swarm of white Leeds United shirts around them trying to win it back. They did win it back, but in the end the pass through to Aronson just wasn't quite accurate enough. But they'll have to wake up, Wolves, otherwise that will keep happening. It
certainly has a problem. It would be a problem for Wolves if they start dwelling on it, but Pedro Neto does well to win the ball there off Christensen, puts a cross in, headed down, a chance here for Podence, and it's in the back of the net. Wolves take the lead inside 6 minutes, and it was just a quick ball over from the left-hand side, headed down, nobody trailing, little Daniel Podence, and it's a volley right into the top corner over the hand of Meslier, and it's the perfect start for Wolves.
It is the perfect start for Wolves, and a horrible start for Leeds United, just as they had a chance at the other end. Moments later, it's back up the other side. A lovely piece of skill on the left-hand side from Neto to sort of start the move off after the long ball came from midfield. It was a fantastic ball over the top, and then in the end it's all of a bit of a scramble and a bounce in the box, but Podence is the one to just manage to get his foot on the end of it, and like I say, it just loops over the hand of Meslier in towards the top right-hand corner. He bounces it off the floor in some sort of miss-hit volley, but it doesn't matter how they go in as long as they do.
Absolutely. I mean, as you said, he's probably not the exact connection that he wanted with the ball, but there's certainly questions will be asked of new signing Rasmus Christensen. He had 2 opportunities there to win that ball off Pedro Neto and couldn't really get anywhere near him. The ball over the top was a little bit too easy from Wolves' point of view, but that's a really good headed assist there as well from Chan. When you consider how close he is to goal himself, he still had the presence of mind to head that square rather than going for goal himself.
Yeah, he certainly did. He's made a decision that the odds are better to try and nod that down to Podence than have a go himself, and 1-0 Wolves is the reward for his generosity.
So Leeds need to respond quickly now. As we know, the crowd at Elland Road is definitely a 12th man for the home side when things are going well. When things are going badly, it can get toxic quite quickly at Elland Road, and that's something that Leeds will need to be mindful of. But Wolves now with their tails up. Ait Nouri down the left-hand side finds Pedro Neto. A real closing down there from Rodrigo, putting pressure on, and Leeds are pressing as high as they can. This is a good response to try and win the ball back quickly. Still played over towards the right-hand side, kept in play with the head of Johnny Castro. And then good work down the right-hand side here from Gibbs-White. Keeps the ball in play, has options. One of them is Daniel Podence. He switches the ball back towards Gibbs-White. He should be able to keep that in play. He does. Puts a cross in towards the near post, swept away by Robin Cox. Still kept in play here by Johnny Castro. And he goes back towards Ruben Neves. The visitors just slowing things down now in midfield. Played back towards Max Kilman. And he goes over towards Ait Nouri down the left-hand side. Just a little bit loose in midfield. Bamford hustling to try and win the ball back. Ruben Neves is there, though, and Wolves now doing what they can to take the sting out of that response from Leeds as they try to get on the ball themselves. Yeah, they are. They're doing well to both take that sting out of it and keep control of the ball whilst pushing Leeds back into their own half. Leeds are trying to press on the ball, but if Wolves can push them into their own half, it's hard for them to do that as the ball just has to go out of play because Ruben Neves is down again. He's down again. It's twice now in the first 8 minutes that the Wolves captain is down. He's not happy. He feels that he might have been trodden on here. And we'll see from this replay. It's not the best replay, I have to say, but it didn't look as though there was too much contact there with Mark Roca. Perhaps just a little bit on the toe end there for Ruben Neves. But of course, with these modern football boots being nothing more than plastic slippers, really, they're so thin, aren't they, that I suppose any kind of contact on the top there is going to be painful. But Neves back on the field. And we're back underway. Wolves just losing the ball inside their own half, but the loose ball there, Struick couldn't quite get on the end of it, so it's still going to be Wolves in possession with a throw on down the right-hand side. 9 minutes gone, independent off Tube Studio commentary. It is Leeds United 0, Wolves 1. Podence with the goal. It's Bournemouth leading against Aston Villa after an early goal from Jefferson Lerma. And in the other 2 3 o'clock kickoffs, it's goalless between Newcastle and Nottingham Forest. And Spurs and Southampton, those games also available on our service, as indeed is the late kickoff this evening as Everton take on Chelsea. A ball played back now towards goalkeeper Jose Sarr, clears it up towards the halfway line, and there is Tyler Adams winning the ball for Leeds, over towards the left-hand side now for Harrison. Under pressure he goes back to Struick, and Leeds need this now, having conceded that early goal, just to keep on the ball and try and move it around, give everybody a touch and try and build from the back as Koch is under pressure there, but he finds a good ball to Brendan Aronson, and Aronson has Christensen on the overlap. Christensen trying to get away from Ait Nouri, couldn't quite drop the shoulder enough to beat his man, has to go back towards Aronson. Here's Christensen again, flicks it onto Aronson. There's players waiting inside the box if Aronson can get a ball in, but he's got 2 Wolves players around him. Goes for the consolation prize of the corner kick.
Yeah, it was a lovely little flick from Rasmus Christensen, and we've seen both sides of his game already in these opening 10 minutes. Poor defensively, but going forward, he looks a threat on that right-hand side with Brendan Aronson, and those two are going to partner up well, I would imagine, all through this season to try and add some attacking flair and threat to Leeds.
Well, certainly that was a good little sort of nugget of what they could do between them there. Good little link up between the 2 right-sided players there for Leeds, and Aronson has stayed by the corner flag to take this corner. It's going to be a right-footed outswinger. It's a low one aimed at the near post there for Bamford, headed away back towards Aronson on that right-hand side. Couldn't see any way to get across it this time, so he goes back to Christensen, who stayed behind as one of the last defenders. I'm quite surprised by that, actually. I would have thought with Christensen's frame, he'd be quite useful in the box for a corner kick. But obviously Jesse March decided that he can leave him on the halfway line. A long ball played now, looking for Aronson inside the penalty area, headed away. Bamford chasing the loose ball, but Ait Nouri gets there just ahead of him. Not the best clearance from Ait Nouri, though. That's straight to Mark Rocker, who puts a ball in towards the edge of the area. Rodrigo with a bit of a heavy touch. He just wanted a bit too much time on the ball there, and it's swept away towards the halfway line where Koch heads it forward. And then there's a challenge there on Tyler Adams. The referee, I think, thought about giving a free kick, but just allowed the advantage to go on as Leeds are in possession anyway. Over now towards the left-hand side. Struick with a quick ball finds Harrison. And it's a chance now to get the ball into the penalty area. Oh, that ball is just a little bit over here. And then, well, potentially you could argue that was a back pass there from Kilman to Jose Sarr. But I think these days you really have to be very blatant with how you pass the ball back to your goalkeeper. Referee Rob Jones deciding there was nothing wrong with that one.
Yeah, but Leeds just warming into this game. They could have gone one down as they just win the ball back in the middle here.
They do, and they go straight on the attack. An opportunity now to get that ball in towards Aronson. But again, Kilman is in the right place at the right time to get the ball away. Although Wolves, again, give it away in before they reach the halfway line. Here is Tyler Adams now down the right-hand side, gets to the edge of the area. And Aronson with the strike. He hits it with the left foot this time. A bit of a curling effort there as well. I think Sarr's got fingertips to it, and this is a good few minutes of pressure from Leeds now.
Yeah, certainly. That's what I was about to say before Leeds got on another attack. Is they could have gone 1-0 down and just decided to sit off and have the shock of it, but they've gone back at Wolves. They've used that home crowd advantage that you spoke about, and at the moment they're on top and looking more likely to score, and that was a close effort from Aronson.
It was a deflection rather than a save. A deflection off the foot of Kilman puts this out for a corner kick. We've got a goal elsewhere, I'll tell you about that in just a moment, but here comes the corner kick for Leeds. It's going to be a left-footed ball in this time towards the back post. Good header away by Dendoncker, and then a loose ball headed away by Ait Nouri. A chance here now for Wolves to go on the counter as Chan does his best to keep that ball in play. He goes down holding his face. The referee does give a free kick. Jesse March, we can see, is furious about that. Mark Ruckers is got that what me look about him, like he can't believe that the free kick's been given against him. But I think what swung it in terms of angering the Leeds crowd and players there was the fact that it took the referee a few seconds to make his mind. It's either a blow to the face or it's not, and I'm just not sure there's too much in that.
There isn't much in it at all. I think Rocker is just trying to turn around, and in the momentum his hand just grazes the face of Hwang Hee-Chan.
You never say that he's moved his hand to actually try and hit Chan at all. That's a bit of a harsh one, really. But it is a free kick to Wolves, and they just go back towards their own penalty area. They lose possession as well. Just to tell you, James Ward-Prowse has put Southampton up away at Spurs. Perfect start for Southampton. And although I've not seen the goal, I'd like to imagine it's probably a free kick.
That'd be your guess, wouldn't it?
If it's Ward-Prowse, it's likely to be a free kick rather than him heading a cross in of some sort. As Gibbs White now is having a bit of a row with the referee. I think he was unhappy that the free kick was given against him there, but he does clatter into Mark Rocker, so it probably was the right decision. A free kick now to Leeds. It's about 40 yards out, maybe even 45 yards out, over on the left-hand side. They're certainly not within shooting range, but they'll be looking to try and get a ball into the box. And there's the right-footed option of Aronson and the left-footed option of Harrison standing over this one for Leeds. Haven't seen too much of Jack Harrison yet in this game. Wolves have set up their offside line just at the edge of the area, and it is Harrison. Diagonal ball aimed at the back post. It's a good header across goal, and it's stopped inside the 6-yard box. A second chance here now as the ball reaches. Harrison tries to put a cross in, but it's taken out of the sky there by Jose Sarr in the end. But a player down inside the penalty area there for Wolves, and there's a bit of pushing and shoving as well. I'm not quite sure why the Leeds players are as angry as they are. Maybe they felt as though there was a head injury and the referee should have stopped play, or they're perhaps suggesting it could be a penalty.
Yeah, well, the long ball comes in and it's heading for the head of Rasmus Christensen at the back post, and Jose Sarr comes out to get it, doesn't win the ball, and clatters straight into Christensen. It's one of those situations where you know that if that's two defenders going for it, it's probably a penalty. Maybe the protection on the goalkeepers means it's not going to be, but
yeah, I think if VAR can have a good long look at this now, because there's a head injury to Rasmus Christensen. He's down on the ground, so they've got all the time they need to check this, the video referees, if they feel they need to. We're getting a couple of replays of it ourselves now. I think what could swing it in favour of it being a penalty is that Jose Sarr never looks close to actually getting anywhere near the ball. I mean, there is a second there where he looks like he might get there, but it always looked to me as though Christensen was closer to the ball.
Absolutely, it's going on Christensen's head. Christensen wins it without there being any contact on the ball from Jose Sarr. But it's one of those ones where, really, it probably should be a penalty, but I just can't see it being given in this game because it's such a big decision for the referees to make, and there's so much protection around goalkeepers.
There is. I think that it sort of works both ways, because of course goalkeepers then themselves get a little bit of protection on some occasions. Other occasions they don't. It's still a little bit of a grey area where sometimes a goalkeeper just brushes with an opposition player and that's deemed to be obstruction. Other times goalkeepers fall over opposition players and it's seen as just one of those things. So I think certainly if VAR was going to check this, they would have asked our match official here, Rob Jones, to come across and see the monitor. They haven't done that. Christensen's back on the field and we're back underway. 16 minutes gone. It's Leeds United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, as Wolves go on the attack down the left-hand side. Chan headed that into space, but it was done at such pace that he couldn't quite keep it in play. Throw on to Leeds now, level with the edge of their own penalty area down the right-hand side. And this was a problem for Leeds last season, that they conceded so many early goals, and even though that fighting spirit and the fact that they have always got a goal in them means that they were able to come back in more than one game and still get the points they needed to stay up. It's not a good habit to get into to concede goals early on in games, because then you're always having to make up the difference.
Yeah, well, probably the most famous one last season was against Wolves when they were 2-0 down at half time. The game looked dead and gone, and then all of a sudden they managed to pull those 3 goals back that really probably kept them in the Premier League in that last run in. It built
absolutely.
Then
there was the last minute winner against Norwich, having conceded at injury time, and then the last minute equaliser against Brighton, with all that fantastic work there from Geldhard to find Struijk in the last dying seconds. So it's not to say that Leeds aren't good at getting goals in the last minute, but you can't rely on that as one of your skills, really. That's got to be a bonus in picking up some late points. You've got to be able to try and get a stranglehold of the game earlier than that. And with 18 minutes on the clock here, Leeds have responded well since conceding, but it is still Wolves that have the lead, as the visitors now in possession inside their own half. Kilman under pressure there, going across towards Ryan Ait-Nouri. He plays an early ball in to find Gibbs White, who tried to feed the run of Pedro Neto, but that one is stopped, and now Leeds can go on the attack. It's Bamford down the right-hand side. He needs some support ahead of him. Holds the ball up well, Bamford, and decides to go for goal himself. It's a curling effort, but it was one of those that curled right down the middle of the goal and into the arms of Jose Sarr. Yeah, speculative to say the least. He doesn't tend to score from distance, Patrick Bamford. It almost looked like one of those ones where he probably didn't really want to shoot, but the options that he did have didn't really make runs that opened much up, other than an opportunity for him to let fly. He did so, and it was comfortably straight in the middle of the goal and in the arms of Jose Sarr. But like you say, Leeds are pushing. They are, and they just need to be able to keep that ball further up the field for longer. It's a bit of link-up play down the right-hand side. It's between Christensen and Aronson again. Aronson's ball stopped by Max Kilman, so it's out for a corner kick to Leeds United. It's their third from this right-hand side. And is this Aronson taking it himself? Looks like it's going to be an outswinger. Jose Sarr just trying to organise his defenders inside the penalty area. Chance this now for Leeds to put pressure on the Wolves' defence. And it is Brendan Aronson looking to send an outswing, a bit more height on it this time. Good header away though by Kilmer. The loose ball at the edge of the area. There's a strike coming in which is charged down, and all of a sudden Wolves can now go on the counter-attack as there's a run down the right-hand side. Challenge there from Harrison, and we're going to see our first booking of the game here as well. As we can see, Pedro Neto is unhappy. Harrison says he can't believe it, but I think I mean, it was never going to be more than a yellow, but I think it had to be a yellow.
Yeah, he stopped a dangerous attack, hasn't he? He's not got the last man or anything like that, but Neto is running through. He's in his own half or just over the line, or pretty much on the halfway line as I'm looking at it there. And he just sticks a foot in. He tries to go for the ball, but I think it's one of those ones where he's thinking, I'll try, and if I bring him down, it's not the worst thing. A yellow card and it stops them from doubling their lead.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't know where they're taking that free kick from. It's at least 10 yards further up than the foul actually took place, but in the end, Wolves don't really use that extra territory at all. They actually play the ball back in towards their defensive line. Now Ruben Neves trying a ball over the top, and it's a great ball as well to find Chan, who takes it down with the right, then shoots with his left. That would have been an absolute worldie for the start of the season, but Chan's left-footed effort is straight at Ilan Meslier.
Yeah, it's a lovely piece of skill from Hwang Hee-Chan as he just collects the ball on his right foot and just loops it over and flicks it over the head.
It's Gascoigne-esque, wasn't it?
Yeah,
really,
it was fantastic. And took it down on his left foot and powered it towards the bottom corner, but Meslier manages to get over it and manage to keep it out of the net. But yeah, it would have been a special goal.
Would have been a fantastic goal. Ryan Sessegnon has scored for Spurs. They've equalised at home to Southampton. It's 1-1 in that game. Still goalless between Newcastle and Nottingham Forest. There's a great ball over the top now to find Bamford. Bamford beats the offside line. He can't quite get it out from under his feet. Ait Nouri doing what he can to stop him. Bamford then back heeling the ball into Aronson. Aronson stands the ball up towards the back post. There is Jose Sarr just with a hand up trying to calm down his defenders, but Leeds just picking up at any kind of scrap they can at the moment.
Yeah, they're getting onto loose balls, they're putting Wolves under pressure, and it's what they need to do. This is a Wolves defence that really we didn't see too much of as a back four last season. We certainly didn't see Nathan Collins in it as he was at Burnley, and I think the lack of Connor Cody is something that is new to them, and if they do keep harrying that back four, they'll win balls high up.
They will, as the ball played in towards Rodrigo is just stopped at the edge of the area by Dendoncker, and now it's over on the right-hand side with Castro and Gibbs-White exchanging passes. Podence then trying to get involved, but that's been won back by Struijk for Leeds now down the left-hand side. Here is Harrison. Back in towards Mark Rocker. That's a slightly short ball, but it does get through to Rodrigo. He then hits it first time into the penalty area, but that is overhit from the Spanish international, and an easy pick up there for the goalkeeper Jose Sarr. As we can see, the Leeds crowd, as always, desperate for their team to respond in this game. Just haven't had too much in terms of actual efforts on goal. There was that one strike which deflected wide, and a couple of promising moves inside the penalty area, but Wolves holding firm for the time being. Leeds now win the ball back in midfield. Just see this passage of play before I hand over to Josh for the remainder of this first half, but it is back now with Adams. In fact, he plays it back in towards Diego Llorente. So with 23 minutes on the clock, it is Leeds United 0, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1, and it will be Josh Hall to take us through to half-time.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's been a good first few exchanges in this first half. It's been an interesting match. We said at the start that we thought it was going to be two teams we couldn't really call, and I think Wolves really managed to take that early advantage well. They got at Leeds when they needed to, but Leeds certainly looking the better of the two sides now as a long ball comes forward, but it's won in the end by Llorente, and Leeds will try to go forward again. Bamford lays the ball off to Harrison. He tries to find Aronson going into the box, but Ait Nouri is there to win it, but it's won straight back off him from Harrison. Harrison then tries to get the ball back on. Leeds are on the right hand side of the box. Rodrigo shoots, and it's in. He snuck it in at the bottom corner of Jose Sarr's goal, and it came from really nothing. Wolves had won the ball back in the box. It was pinched off the feet of Ait Nouri by Brendan Aronson. Then Rodrigo opens up his body on the right hand side and just squeezes it into that bottom corner.
Well, it's been something that's been happening since the very first minute of this game, is the Wolves have just been a little bit too laid back, a little bit too casual in terms of their possession at the back. And here, Ait Nouri trying to turn when there's three Leeds players around him. Got away with it once, loses the ball almost straight away. And then you've got to say credit to Rodrigo for taking the shot on early. But, I mean, there's minus points all over the penalty area there for Wolves. The way Ait Nouri loses the ball, the way in which Ruben Neves just smashes that ball straight into a Leeds player. And then Jose Sarr, you can't get beaten at your near post like that. So a very avoidable goal from Wolves' point of view. Yeah,
took the words right out of my mouth about Jose Sarr. He'll be disappointed with that. He was probably the best goalkeeper in the league last season, maybe bar Alisson, and he's going to be disappointed with that one.
Well,
Hit with a lot of power, but
if he stood on his near post, he wouldn't even have to dive. The ball would just hit him, and it's obviously it's all easy to say that in watching a replay, but it's not good positioning there from the goalkeeper. And 25 minutes on the clock now, and it's all level.
It is all level, and Leeds United will be happy that their hard work has finally paid off. They were pushing and pushing and pushing, and that goal's come, and now the Elland Road crowd will be behind them, and they'll try and go and push to lead this game as it moves towards half-time. But Wolves have won the ball back in the centre. It's Podence that wins it. He tries to play it out wide right to Hwang. He's then hacked down by Robin Koch. It looked like it could have been a foul, but referee deems it to have been a clean tackle.
Yeah, well, I think a couple of the Leeds fans would have thought there could have been a foul on their player just as the ball was being won back, and then the challenge there on Gibbs White did seem quite strong, but here come Leeds now down the left.
Yeah, down the left-hand side with Jack Harrison. He cuts back in onto his right foot, gives the ball to Aronson. He lets it run, though, for Rodrigo, who shoots again, this time from distance. It's taken a deflection, but only as far as Christensen, who then makes a run down the right-hand side, tries to deliver it into the box, and in the end, it's finally cleared away by Wolves. But once again, it's back to a Leeds player in the form of Robin Koch. He tries to play a long percentage ball up the right. It takes a deflection, and Leeds will have a throw-in on the right-hand side, but they are pushing and pushing and pushing this Wolves side.
They are. If there was a meter now in terms of where the next goal is going to come, it would have to be for Leeds. I think the Wolves are struggling to contain what Leeds are doing right now, and they're feeling even more confident now that they've got their equaliser. A strike coming in from the edge of the area from Mark Rocker, but he didn't really get his foot through that one, and it's an easy save for Jose Sarr.
Yeah, it was one of those ones from Rocker where it sat up nicely for him, so he's just had a swing at it, but it wasn't the best of efforts, but it just shows that dominance from Leeds so far. What you would say, as I know you're saying that Leeds will be the most likely to score next, but Wolves do like to do this. They'll soak up pressure and they'll catch you on the counter-attack with that pace. It's
Absolutely,
the way they like to play.
It was instilled in them under Nuno Espirito Santo, and of course with that strong Portuguese thread going through the club, Bruno Lage has carried it on. Of course, he's adapted it somewhat to his own style. But Wolves are a team that I think that's what makes them a difficult team to predict, because they can do well in or out of possession as they're trying to push forward now, and half a chance it down the right-hand side.
Yes, Hwang's got an opportunity to cross the ball in towards the middle. Then Donker gets his head on it, but he only plays it down as low as Neto. Some lovely footwork to try and break away from three Leeds players. He managed to beat two of them, but at the end it was finally cleared away by Rasmus Christensen, and Leeds will go again just over the halfway line with Brendan Aronson. It's a 3-on-3 situation with Leeds United. He's got two options to his left-hand side, Aronson. He manages to find one, which was Jack Harrison, but he couldn't quite get the ball under his control, and Johnny Otto manages to get a foot on it, and I'm not quite sure whether he's managed to play that off Harrison out for a goal kick, and if so,
I think he might have done, tackle. Yeah, if he has done, then that really is superb there from the Wolves right back. I say right back, he's spent most of his time playing as a left winger, but he's at right back today. Again, the thing that will worry Bruno Lage was just how many Leeds players there were, and an absence of Wolves players. It wasn't that quick a counter-attack, but Wolves just seemed to be missing numbers there.
Yeah, Brendan Aronson managing to find himself in those little pockets of space when they are counter-attacking, and he's a player who, although slight, is full of technical ability, pace, skill, and he's got great vision for a pass as well. So they'll have to keep a keen eye on him. I'm sure Bruno Lage will be speaking to his players at half-time about him as Leeds come again down the left-hand side with Jack Harrison. He's harried off the ball, and in the end deemed to have been done so illegally by the referee, and it will be a free kick to Leeds. It's out towards the touchline. It was Ruben Neves who made the foul, and an opportunity for Leeds to try and put this ball in the box.
This is a good opportunity now for Leeds. Wolves already trying to set up as high as they can with an offside, just to try and make it as difficult as possible for the Leeds players to get into the box. Interesting here that Jesse March quite animated in speaking to our fourth official there, Michael Oliver, and not entirely sure what he was unhappy about there, but in any case, it is a good chance here now for Leeds. And you can see straight away the big man Collins trying to mark Patrick Bamford.
Yeah, Patrick Bamford is a real threat from these sort of things. It's whipped in on the left foot of Jack Harrison. It doesn't really reach anyone, and it's finally cleared away by Max Kilman. It's then just with Leeds on the right-hand side. It's given to Rocker. He plays a 1-2 with Llorente, but Llorente can't quite return the ball to the ex-Bayern Munich man, and it's cleared away once more from Wolves, and then I thought they'd given a free kick there, but in the end, Hwang went down and was looking for a free kick, but it bounced off him and it went out for a Leeds United throw-in, and they'll have the ball back. Wolves just cannot keep control of any of the ball at the moment.
No, they can't now. It was Bruno Lage's turn to Michael Oliver and to have a go at him about that last decision. I mean, I think that since the Euros, when the referees have tried to allow a bit more physicality, and players have learned that. I mean, they're still going to look for easy free kicks wherever they can, but some of that has been eradicated away as here come Leeds now down the right-hand side. A ball to Aronson. If he can keep it in play, it just seemed a bit too quick for him.
Yeah, just a little bit too far in front of Aronson. It ended up actually hitting the corner flag, so I think it's probably just about gone out for a throw-in. So Leeds can pin Wolves in back towards their own left side corner flag. You're right, the referees have allowed more physicality. I think we saw a lot of that last night in the Arsenal Crystal Palace game. A lot was let go in that game, and hopefully, from a personal point of view, I hope that continues. We want to see physicality.
You do. It's the issue, I think, always with those sorts of things is the consistency. Is it, if in one game is it a push in the shoulder, in another game it's just a 50-50 battle, and it's those grey areas that are always going to be difficult. But once again, Leeds on the attack. Yeah,
once again it's Aronson on that right-hand side. He manages to play a right-footed pass in towards Bamford, but it's dealt with well by Nathan Collins, and then Kilman with a lovely bit of skill to actually beat Tyler Adams and run the ball to the halfway line, and a little back flick which he manages to find Gibbs White with. Gibbs White looking for a long field cross pass towards Daniel Podence, who just about keeps it in for Wolves. It's then chipped in from him, and it's all towards the back post of Hwang, and Meslier does very well to come out and grab it, but that was a really nice piece of play from Max Kilman to work out from the back, and that shows the quick counter-attacking football Wolves can have.
Absolutely, and Kilman, as you told me before kick-off, showing his futsal skills there with a little bit of a jinking run there as well. The ball in was a good ball, I think, looking for Hwang, but it's also a very good save there from Meslier. I always think that sort of diving jump and catch the way that he did takes a lot of confidence. That's good work from Meslier. Spurs have turned it around. They were one down at home to Southampton after a goal from Ward-Prowse, but now Sessegnon equalised, and now it's Eric Dyer has put Spurs 2-1 up in that game. And meanwhile, Hwang is down on the ground, and it doesn't look good here for the Wolves, man.
No, it doesn't. He's got two physios on with him, and he doesn't look like he's in a lot of comfort, to be honest. He's having a little look at it, maybe his groin or his thigh, so something to keep an eye on for him, whether or not he'll be able to stay on the pitch. Obviously, as we said earlier, there is no Raul Jimenez for Wolves today, so if he was to have to come off, you'd sort of look to their bench and think there wasn't much in the way of attacking options. They might struggle to be able to replace him if it does come to that, but hopefully from a Wolverhampton Wanderers perspective and point of view, they will be able to keep him on the pitch. He's certainly been their most threatening player today, maybe alongside Neto and Podence, but he's constantly making those runs into the box, Hwang, and I think he sort of towards the back end of the last season looked as if he might be able to sort of improve on his goal scoring tally. So we're just taking a look at how it's happened, and I think what's a bad sign is that he doesn't really look like he's been touched or anything.
No, it's an awkward landing after that acrobatic save that we mentioned from Meslier there, and he seems to be just sort of checking his hip and his groin as he gets back up again. It may well be that it is a bit of an awkward landing. I mean, the players have been back for a pre-season now for over a month. It still does take a while for that body to adjust. Maybe the turf, the ground is just a little bit harder with it being the summer as well. Of course, it'll be very well watered, but these things can always have a bit of an impact. And when we stopped play, it was actually a throw to Leeds, relatively close to the Wolves penalty area.
It was, and it will be Rasmus Christensen who will take it. It looks like play will just about to get underway now that Hwang has been given the all clear. He's pointing where he wants his players. Christensen, he finally plays the throw-in in. It's then headed away, but only as far on the right-hand side as Rodrigo, who was trying to chase it down, but he couldn't win it. It's then cleared away by Wolves. Robin Koch then wins it back, and Leeds will have possession inside the Wolves half once again, still continuing with that pressure. Jack Harrison trying to weave his way through a sea of golden shirts. It's then plucked away from his feet and back to the goalkeeper, Jose Sarr, who then clears the ball away, and Wolves will try their best to come, but it's nicked off them once again and finally cleared. It's just a constant barrage of every time Wolves win the ball back, Leeds then get hold of it, Wolves just about win it back, and they just have to clear it, and finally they're just managing to calm things down as then Donker just plays the ball across to Nathan Collins, and Wolves will just try and stop the pressure from Leeds United.
Yeah, it's been pretty insistent from Leeds in the last 10 minutes, pretty much since just before the equaliser, and certainly since the equaliser, barring those couple of quick counter-attacks. Most of the possession is being kept inside the Wolves half, and Leeds just needs to find that ball a little bit quicker to get towards the edge of the area. But I think Wolves will be as you mentioned there, just very happy to slow things down now for the next minute or two, just to try and take the bit of a sting out of what Leeds are doing.
Yeah, it might be on that back four of Ait Nouri, Nathan Collins, Max Kilman and Johnny Castro to be able to do that. Obviously, Nathan Collins making his debut today, 21 years old, so young for a Premier League centre-back, but he was so important for Burnley towards the back end of the season. Obviously, didn't quite manage to do enough to keep them up, but he did a stellar job of standing in as Wolves do come forward now. They're just inside the box. Pedro Neto on the left-hand side. He lets fly on his left foot. It's low, it's driven, but it's straight into the hands of Ilan Meslier.
It is, yeah. There's been a couple of those efforts from Wolves now. The effort from Chan after he flicked it up and volleyed it, that was straight at the goalkeeper. And here again, Pedro Neto puts a lot of power into this, but it is straight down the middle of the goal. Meslier pretty much where he was stood. Just had to kneel down to make sure that he stopped that ball. But that's a warning to Leeds as well, that for all their possession and all their hustle and bustle, if Wolves get half a chance at the edge of the box, they will be shooting.
Patrick Bamford dropping deep for Leeds, trying to create something in his own half.
He's not really had a clear-cut chance in this half yet, has he?
Not really. He's not had anyone put anything on a plate for him. There's been plenty of half chances. You'd probably say the only big chance of the game was the Podence goal so far. Everything's almost been a half chance. Even that goal from Rodrigo, it was such a tight angle, you would call it a half chance, and he'd done very well to put it in the back of the net. So, yeah, I think there's definitely more that can be done for both sides. I think Wolves really need to get themselves back into this game, but Patrick Bamford not had too much to get on the end of, so having to drop deep to try and create something himself. It's Wolves with the ball in their own half now. Ait Nouri on the left-hand side. He's put under a bit of pressure as he tries to play the ball through to Podence. He was looking to try and flick it on to Hwang, but not on the same page as him, so Leeds win the ball back. They play a long ball forward searching for Bamford, and it goes straight out of play for a goal kick. He just can't get on the end of that one.
No, just a bit too much on that one for Bamford. Leeds fans will be delighted to see him back in the starting line. There's Jesse March just with those sort of calm down hands there as he walks back towards his position on the Leeds bench. I think he was probably hoping that Leeds just hold on to the ball a little bit there. But there's nothing wrong with trying to mix it up. I think Leeds had a period where they were in sort of slow possession, trying to grind Wolves down. They didn't get too much from that. So if occasionally they play an early ball in and take an early shot, there's nothing wrong with that really. They certainly still seem to be enjoying more of the ball. There's a long ball over the top now here for Pedro Neto. And if that bounce had just been a little bit more fortuitous, he might have had a chance there.
Yeah, the ball over the top to Neto. Looks like he was offside anyway. The flag's gone up from the assistant. But a show of the threat that Wolves do has. But as you say, the bounce didn't quite go Neto's way. And Christensen managed to get control of the ball and put it away. And the ball on the left-hand side now with Pascal Stroy. He plays a long ball over the top, and this could be an opportunity for Bamford, but he can't quite get it under his control. And Nathan Collins with his hands in the air saying that was offside as well, but no flag up this time. It won't matter though. Wolves have the ball in comfortable possession at the back, but it won't be comfortable for long as that barrage of white shirts come, and it forces a mistake from Jose Sarr. Leeds do win it back, but they give it away cheaply themselves, and now Wolves can come down the left-hand side, and it's Ait Nouri. He's got not many options in front of him, and in the end Robin Koch manages to come across and just knock the ball out of play for a Wolves throw-in. And they look threatening when they come forward, Wolves, but sometimes they just don't have the numbers.
They don't. I think it's that difficult balance for Wolves in trying to be a bit more threatening going forward, but then because they have lost the ball so many times and Leeds go forward in such big numbers, Wolves don't want to leave themselves exposed at the back, so it's safety first here from Bruno Lage's side, but they're trying to build something now here down the left.
They are. It's Ait Nouri again. He whips in a ball with a nice pace and float to it towards the back post. Hwang jumps up to try and get his head on it. Sorry, it was Morgan Gibbs-White who managed to get his head on it, but it was a looping one. It was a bit too high for him, and it comes off the top of his head. So the score's still 1-1 at Elland Road. 38 minutes played, and you've got to think that I think Wolves have probably come into the game a bit more since that period of Leeds dominance, but Leeds certainly still looking the more likely and putting Wolves under the pressure.
Absolutely. If either manager had the option of extending this half by 5 minutes, it would be Jesse March that would say let's play on for another 5 minutes, because he would sense that Leeds could just perhaps get another goal here as they win possession back in midfield. An early ball there, attempted pass there from Rodrigo is cut out, but here come Leeds now down the left with Struijk.
Struijk looking for someone in the middle, and again it's given cheaply to a Wolves player, and then one straight back by Leeds, and then one straight back by Wolves again. It's like ping pong, and it's just no one being able to control the ball in the middle of the pitch and for that attack. And now Christensen on the right hand side tries to play a ball through to Aronson. He tries to play a flick back to Christensen, and once again it's one. And Max Kilman once more showing his calmness and ability on the ball at the back. I'm sure there's Wolves fans inside that stadium whose hearts skip a beat every time he tries to do a piece of skill like that on the edge of the box, but he just manages to get it out, and it will be a Leeds United throw-in on the right-hand side with Rasmus Christensen. Christensen, again, he's taking his time, but manages to find the option of Rodrigo down the right-hand side. He tries to put a cross in just on the byline on his right foot, didn't manage to get it anywhere. It's then cleared away, and Neto tries to play a ball down the left-hand side for Wolves. It's once more intercepted, and the ball is just sort of not under control by either team in the middle, but Wolves have now got an opportunity on the right-hand side now, and it's going to come through Daniel Podence. Podence trying to get his head up. It's then played down further on the right-hand side. A return pass back to Podence. There's options in the middle for him to cross into. It's taken a couple deflections in the box from Leeds, and they just about get it out for a throw-in. It's Robin Koch in the end who puts it out, but Podence causing trouble for Leeds there.
Yeah, good link up there on the right between Johnny Castro and Podence, and in the end it was Castro's ball that deflects out for a throw, but it's good play this from Wolves, good response after a long spell of Leeds being in charge, and that's quite interesting as well, that Wolves taking an age to take this throw on. It just shows you that they're probably quite happy to run the clock down and sort of regroup before coming out for the second half. Yeah,
they know they are under pressure, and you'd probably think if they can calm the game down whilst they're inside Leeds half, it allows them to try and get a little bit of the ball back and just control things more, but they've given it away cheaply, and Leeds will come steaming forward with Patrick Bamford, but it looks like either the ball went out or it might be a throw-in. I think it probably... the ball went out or it might be a free kick. I think it probably is a throw-in. It looked like the ball was being played very close to the byline just before the pass went through to Patrick Bamford. He certainly wasn't offside because he started inside his own half.
No, it was as you say, just straight out there for a Wolves throw. And now as we come into the last sort of 3 or 4 minutes of this first half, it's Wolves that are quite keen to just keep possession, and we can see Jesse March there furiously beckoning his players to push further up the field. He still wants that energy level to be maintained. Yeah, the pressing is where Leeds have found most of their joy, managing to take the ball off Wolves in dangerous areas as the ball's won back by Tyler Adams, but there was a shirt pull there, I think, just in the build-up. The actual collision that led to the ball being won back for Leeds there wasn't a foul, but I think there was a shirt pull on Aït-Nouri just as he was trying to get away, and the referee realised that he needed to give a free kick, so now a chance here for Wolves to cross it in from the left-hand side. Yeah, serious chance for Wolves. It's Pedro Neto. He's about 35-40 yards out on the left-hand side. He's going to do an in-swinging left-footed cross. There's plenty lining up on the edge of the box. A high line from Leeds United to try and catch those Wolves players offside. Neto stuttering his run to try and see what's going to happen. He finally plays it in, and it's an absolutely horrendous cross that doesn't even make it to the box. It then falls out to Johnny Otto, who just skies it over the bar. It's just poor all round that from Wolves. A real opportunity to try and get ahead in this game. They know they're good from set pieces. They've got the height of Nathan Collins, and they've just wasted that opportunity. They have, and it'll be frustrating there to Bruno Lage because they've not had too many chances to actually get the big men into the box and then put a ball in. So when they have that chance, you want that delivery to be so much better. But here come Leeds now. They do. It's Struijk on the left-hand side. He gives the ball to Harrison, just trying to hold it off Johnny Castro, and in the end couldn't quite do enough to keep the ball in play, and it will be a throw into Wolves on the right-hand side. It's played in to Collins. Collins finds Kilman just across the other side, and the ball is now switched to Aït-Nouri on the left. And pressure from Brendan Aronson forces Aït-Nouri to put the ball out of play, and Leeds will take the throw in quickly. It's Tyler Adams who finds Aronson. The two American signings linking up, and this time it's Aronson that can't keep the ball under control, and it will go out for a goal kick to Wolves. 4 new signings on the pitch for Leeds United as we sort of come towards the end of this first half, just over a minute and a half to go. I think Brendan Aronson's been very impressive for them going forward. Tyler Adams has had very little to do in the centre of the pitch. Rasmus Christensen, we said we've seen both sides of them. Have you been impressed with the way Leeds' new signings have been playing? I have. I think that I'd like to see a little bit more from Mark Rocker. I think it's always a bad sign when you don't see much of a central midfielder throughout a half. I think that's the problem as Wolves getting themselves into a right bother here as Jose Sarr loses the ball inside his own 6 yards, but he runs into his own post with Bamford closing down. We were just getting into a conversation because it seemed like Wolves were an easy possession, but now Leeds almost taking advantage. It's a long ball up the other end, and Wolves now on the attack. Yeah, Wolves on the attack on the right-hand side. It comes down to Dendoncker. He can't quite get it under his control, and Meslier clears it away, but
we thought Wolves were in comfortable possession, but it just shows what Leeds can do when they do press onto that back four. They won it back and really maybe should have done more with it as Bamford took the ball off the feet of Jose Sarr, who was playing around with it on his own goal line. And it's now Rodrigo trying to bring the ball forward for Leeds. It's a loose pass, won back by Podence. Podence then plays it out to the right-hand side, which Gibbs White tries to get hold of that ball, but it's won back straight away by Leeds. And Harrison plays the ball into the middle. There's then two players on the end of it, but no one can quite get a touch on it. Both Bamford and Rodrigo running into the box, and it goes out for a goal kick.
Agonisingly close there for Leeds, having a lead just before half-time. It's a good ball in it, just swerving away from Rodrigo and from Bamford as well. Now we're seeing a replay of Jose Sarr. What on earth was he doing there? It was such a heavy touch. He was worried about running into his own post after he played the ball a little bit heavy with his left foot, then realised he wasn't going to get his right foot on the end of it after his first touch. Bamford took it off him. Unfortunately, from Leeds' point of view, they weren't quite able to get a shot away on that occasion, but that was a great ball in from the left-hand side and just out for a goal kick.
Yeah, schoolboy stuff really from Jose Sarr, controlling the ball with his preferred foot rather than the foot that it's being played to, and that's what caused the issue. As we're into 2 minutes of added time, we're about just under a minute into that 2 minutes of added time at the moment. The score still remains Leeds United 1, Wolverhampton Wanderers 1. The goals from Daniel Podence and Rodrigo are the ones on the scoreboard at the moment, and Leeds will have a throw in just inside their own half. Tyler Adams the one who wins it. He gives the ball to Strike, and they will take their time now, Leeds United. I'm sure they're happy to go in at 1-1, but as you say, probably feel that they could get another one. It'll be interesting to see what Bruno Lage says to his players to try and stop this dominance from Leeds, but they'll come forward again with Brendan Aronson just in the left pocket. He manages to give the ball to Jack Harrison. He's trying to just skip away from Dendoncker. In the end, goes back to Rodrigo. The ball then played on the left-hand side to Stroik, who tries to cross it in. He has two bites at the cherry, both of them hitting Johnny Castro, and out for a throw-in for Leeds United. They've got plenty of players forward. They're throw-in on the far left-hand side, pretty much around about the 18-yard box. It's Stroik who plays a throw-in to Harrison. It's one straight back by Wolves, but straight back again by Leeds, and then Wolves pick it up one more time, and with just 20 seconds left on the clock, there's a chance for them to counter-attack here. It's running through the middle. It's Johnny Otto with the ball. He plays the ball to the left-hand side to Pedro Neto. There's not too many options in the middle. Neto's still got a lot of work to do if he wants to find someone. He does find Hwang. He then finds Dendoncker, who opens up his body and looked like he could have put the ball in the back of the net, but in the end, it's not the best of efforts, and it's half-time. The referee blows his whistle. Half-time, 1-1.